Okay, we're starting by starting up the RMI registry, and we have to specify the port number. So we will be doing that by using one that was assigned to us. Once we have that, we have to start the server. But before that, we can actually attempt to connect to the client just to see what we do. Oh. So right here we specify a query. So localhost 5176. But we must specify that it needs a port first, because that's what is specified in the document. And then we issue a query, which we can use get, and we do all, and this should not work. And it says that the identity server is not bounded, and that's because we actually haven't started. And we can actually kill the RMI registry to see if this is caught as well. RMI registry is not running, so we handle these exceptions if they're caught. So we'll start the RMI registry again, and this time we'll start the server. So the server will actually be outputting stuff because we specified verbose on the server side. And now let's get all. It should be empty. It's not. We have pre-existing stuff, so that means the database side is actually working. So we can leave these as is for now, and we can start with creating a separate user. So the way we create is we have to specify the local host, the port, and we're using 5176. Here we're going to use the query we want to create, login name, and then real name if we choose to use one. And this should return the UUID, and it does. So we're going to go through a sequence of tests that we actually have written down. So the first one is to create. The second one is to log in with the same username. This should reject it because it's already existing. And the server returns that it's a duplicate login name, and it won't let us do that. The next step is to look up the account by the test name that we specified. So it was AJ that we created, and it returns the information, and as we can see here, it does match the UUID that was returned on the server when we first created that. And that was required. So now we're going to look up an account that does not exist. AJ1 does not exist. This should return with a login name that doesn't exist. The next step is to do a reverse lookup. So this time we're going to actually utilize the UUID. And we're going to use the one that was generated when we created our user. And this should return the same information. Yep, and we get the same information as we got up here when we use the regular lookup. So for the next test, we do a reverse lookup on a UUID that does not exist. So I guess we can do this. And as expected, UUID does not exist. That's what the server returns. So for our next test, we're going to modify the user that we created. do that right here. Modify wants username, or the old login name and the new login name, but we must specify the password in order to change this. So we do that, and it's successful. And we can verify that this was changed by looking up with the new login name. So look up, and the UUID does not change, which was required as specified. If we're modifying, the UUID should never change. Okay, and for the next step, we try and modify a non-existing name. So because AJ1 does not exist, we can try and modify it, and it should not work. And authentication failed, and that's because the user that we or the login name we specified does not exist. And we try and modify an existing login name with a correct password. So we will try and switch back to our old name with an incorrect password, and it should not allow us to do that, and it doesn't. So we go on to proceed, and we're going to try and actually delete the account that we've created. That's part of the test that we ran. So most recently it should be Amit for the login name, and it's successful. It deletes that. And how do we verify that? We can look it up. And it should not find anything. So it says the login name does not exist. Okay. So now that we've done that, we can actually create multiple accounts. We'll do that. We'll create Amit again. And it returns a UUID because we created a name, and we can actually go ahead, and because we have already created multiple users, we can test the get all command. It only needs one. It doesn't need any more than that, but it'll look better if we just have more than one user. And we want to get all for the moment. And we see that Shry was created at some point on this date, and then Miguel was created at some point on this date, and most recently we have Amit that was created. And now we can look at this, and we can actually get all the UUIDs and compare to what we have from this one. So the first one is Shry, and that matches this UUID. The second one is mine. That matches that one. Most recently Amit's. That looks to match that one. And then for the next test, we can get the users that we created, and we see that we return all of what we see right here. So all these commands work for now. And another test that we can actually do is, because Amit was created, Amit was created at some point at this time, we can modify and see if this date last changed is working. And this time we'll actually use only the -m. We don't actually have to use modify. We allow for this from the users because it was specified that we could do that. So login name is AJ. We're going to call it Amit, and we need to specify the password. And it's successful, and we're going to get all. And we can see that the date created does not match the date last changed. That makes sense. Let's go ahead. I believe we've covered everything that we want as far as these. And I think that can conclude our video for now. We show the functionality. Oh, actually one more test. We can actually create, and I'm going to create SP1, and I'm not going to specify a real name. This should be using the system that the system call that gets your real name. And we do that. It works successful. And we're going to get all to see what system name Try has. And that's the one that's used. And this was an optional of specifying the real name. It doesn't have to be specified. We use that system call that was suggested in the document. And that can conclude our video.